Legend. Gibbons there looking for room, getting it now. Jip being tackled by a strike and namesake the middle. Celestial Legend winding up on the outside now, and the favourite really lifting there. Celestial Legend ran straight past them.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain. Look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I've got Walt in here, the Balmain Tiger, Benny Elias himself. How are you, Big Red?
Mate, tragic day. Tina's gone.
Yeah, big
Tina's
loss.
gone. Tina Turner, simply the best, named after DK. Yeah, very, very sad. Look, we've got the.
What's that, Mad Max?
Mad Max. How about you didn't even know what it was, mate? How can you be Australian if you don't know what Mad Max is?
I've seen a couple of those Mad Max things, and
83 not out. I reckon she lived some pretty tough years, but some pretty bloody big ones as well. She was a freak.
Yeah, no, great singer, great artist. DK, how are you down there, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. Scoot, and in the middle of batching again. Like, my missus just swans around everywhere, as you know. Every month or two I'm batching. So batching again, the missus and Junior over in Japan, doing their best. Actually, Tokyo Disneyland today, Nico. That might be all right, Tokyo Disneyland. That's where we're heading today. But me and my little daughter, we're two out, but we're going all right, mate. Although not you know it, isn't it? And that my contribution didn't some bloke say my contribution's that of a dirty old poopy diaper or something on this show at the moment or something. So I've got to lift my game apparently, but pretty happy if that's all that bloke's getting out of my contribution to this show. That's that. I hope that continues anyway. How are you, Nico?
I missed that. I needed to pump me up during the week. I can't believe I missed it.
Someone's just gone after him. Maybe he backed that thing of Henry Dwyer's that went over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. No, he couldn't have. The show wasn't released by the time the thing ran 15 link gone at the 400, so it was all right. Anyway, Nick Ryan, he fucking need too good in Ryan. Yep. Keep pumping him up in Ryan.
Nico, how'd you go yesterday? Sale was a different one, wasn't it? No vision.
All day.
Yeah, there's no vision. No, I think they kicked in later in the day, but we sort of gave Sale a brush yesterday, given we did our Saturday and Sunday last week. We had two good results there. So Vongley getting the cash down the straight, and then I think penultimate one on Sunday. Scoot was a real good result for the Syndicate. So
fat.
We're up and about. Looking forward to a big weekend. Haven't really done much action since then, so we're fresh and ready to go.
Fresh and firing. So we're up 40.78 units since Jan 1st. So we're trucking along nicely. And I tell you what, Donny is absolutely airborne, and everyone's just picking the eyes out. I think we're last probably month or 3 weeks. I think we're having less bets, but Jesus Christ, we're backing some winners there. So jump on that board, that one, if you're struggling on the punt at the moment, because we won't stop. We'll love it at the moment. We'll try and keep the show positive, but an interesting one floating around and doing the rounds at the moment is the South Australian Carnival. I see Terry McAuliffe on racing.com. He's been pretty vocal about it. I think Royal Merchant won last week, and it seems to be a bit in the abyss. So this is what Terry says, and there's talk about the Carnival moving. I spoke to Tristan and asked him, I said, how's it been year on year for turnover and things like that? And obviously their turnover's dropped, but he normalised the turnover and he still thinks it's down 50%. So for me, that's alarming. And I'm a little bit surprised because I thought the quality of horses were okay.
Mate, Royal Merchant won the race.
Hey?
Royal Merchant. It's a dead set class 2 horse. It's just won a Goodwood, and you're saying the quality of the field was okay.
There's a couple of good horses.
I used to love waiting for the Goodwood. It was a great race. You'd be tracking it 6-7 weeks out. I couldn't tell you. Did it win me 6? I didn't even watch it.
You're anti-Adelaide racing, though.
Not at all. I'm positive, high-quality racing, and you can't say that was a good field.
Well, I'm trying to scratch... Look, as I sort of called it, they've moved it away from a handicap, so that's one problem. They've gone from $1 million in 2017 back to $500,000. They've killed Oakbank. The government's anti-racing, and then the majority of their races, with the exception of this week, you got Murray Bridge, and they've created a pretty good track there, but it's basically you're racing at the same track over and over again. So it I spoke to a guy yesterday, actually. He's more of a harness and a greyhound punter, but even he thinks that SA racing is sort of dying because they don't have a pop-up race. So the new perception is that if you don't have a pop-up race or some sort of, fluffy make-believe hype race, that your racing's, on the nose and going stale. But I think what they're doing on .com's good. I think the quality of racing is not as bad, but maybe they are in a position where they're going to fall back in rank. I guess the top 3 of obviously Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, WA seems to be going okay, and then maybe Tassie's is somewhere that would overtake SA in terms of a relevance point of view.
Sort of the main point that was skipped over a little bit there was why the hell would you change it from a handicap? That was what made the Goodwood. you know, and there's not too many of those sort of high quality handicap sprints that you can aim your horses up at, progressive horses, and yeah, it's just mind-boggling. But anyway,
it sounds I haven't really invested really well. Like they could have saved Oakbank had they fixed the track many years ago, and this is probably the gripe that we make about prize money increases in New South Wales. If all that money and the excess money that they've just re-raised themselves and increased the prize money there, if all that money was spent on tracks instead, they can weather the storm for tough times. What do you guys think?
How can you have tough times if you've increased your prize money, if you've got pop-up races worth 10 million, and then you can, we're coming into tough times. Like, how can you keep a straight face?
Exactly.
Especially when you're not
management.
Using, say, okay, you've got 100 million. 80 million gets spent on making sure your infrastructure, your participants, everyone's looked after. 20 million goes into prize money, something like that, not the opposite, which just seems to be, the whole thing's just insanity.
Yeah, for me, I'm still betting in SA. I sort of like the product. What about you boys over there, DK? You'd probably sometimes find a maiden or a lightly raced horse that sometimes sneaks under your guard and pops up over in SA, much to your demise. But any ideas about
Scoot,
SA?
I've gone drunk on that thing yesterday, Scoot. I've gone drunk on that thing yesterday. There's the $1.20 chance has gone over here. Oh, what's beating it? That bloody delayed action, Scoot, from that Ballarat horse. Mm. Well, no, remember that thing you'd said the other week?
Yeah.
Bloody thing. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, found that out an hour after the race. But anyway, I think, listening to what Terry McAuliffe said, mate, you've got to find your time in the sun. And the times in the sun are areas where there's where you've got your own time there. They're just squashed in different parts here, and there's no real interest. So what Terry McAuliffe's saying, use that into November space and have some good race there, and then horses can push on from Melbourne, and then if they want, they can push on to Western Australia, which is a nice progression, pushing across to the west. And the other thing is, this is the quality of the stock they're getting over there. They've got as he said, that was the weakest Goodwood in history. So they've got you've got a Racing Victoria going hard. So just for instance, Geelong are getting their own standalone. When's that? Early January. Because it's their time in the sun. Beautiful, nice, big crowds down there. Good time of racing. Nothing else on in metropolitan racing apart from Magic Millions. Okay.
Have they just taken too long though? Like this spring carnival's not going to end in Melbourne until December. Like that's going to be like when we start going to Ballarat and that.
Is it December? Pushing it right back to December now?
So like they're still going to be competitive. Like they're still going to have to compete with Melbourne in that time.
Well, that's right. Well, there you go. Missed the boat. That's right.
I feel like they've full on missed the boat.
And this won't happen. It's not going to change.
That's only going to be worse for them because they're going to have to compete with Melbourne and Perth.
Yeah.
I think the spot they're in now is actually not too bad a spot because they're at the back end of the Sydney and sort of Melbourne Carnival, and then it's just they're competing with Queensland because Perth's not really a factor at the moment.
So how do they get Giga kicked to the Goodwood and not to the
exactly? They got to figure out a way to
what are the 10,000
attract. Get a horse that can attract people to the races.
That's right.
Something like that.
Target went there, didn't he? And I'm Invincible. And he beat Takeover Target. Funnily enough, beat I'm Invincible. But yeah,
do you put a bonus in? You win the Newmarket, you get a $500K bonus to go win the Goodwood or something like that, just to try and track a horse that could just sort of do both. But yeah, I think definitely back to a handicap. Like their Oaks was good. Their Derby seemed to be pretty strong. Like Promise to Skeps to go on the Queensland Derby, sort of $7, which we'll touch on later. Like I think
that's the right form, except for that odds-on chance. It's the dominant. The rest of the forms.
I think that was all right. Form, I think the Sangster was all right. No one was sort of questioning the strength of that form too much. I think it was probably just the Goodwood. They're probably just lacking a real.
So two or three starts ago, Holly Lolly was getting past Royal Merchant in a restricted race at Sandown.
Mate, it won a maiden at Canterbury. This prep, didn't it? I think it's been up a long time. It's a great training effort, but what the heck?
Unbelievable.
It's just the last 3 years.
The Jock. What about the Jock? Hey? First ride in Hong Kong last night. No worries.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are jury. You're a bit out on him, MD, but he's a great Jock, MD.
No, we're back aboard now.
It's only like Royal Merchant, Lombardo, Savatox the last 3 years. Before that, you had like Trekking, Dispatch, okay, Santa Ana Lane, Vega Magic, Blackheart, Bart, Flamberge, okay, Smoke and Joey, okay, Platelet, Black Caviar, Velocity, Takeover Target. Like it's
been gone for 10 years.
Well, it's the last few are just diabolical, aren't they? Like Trekking, he ran in a few Everest and things like that, but it's Santa Ana Lane, very good. Vega Magic, great horse. It's there's obviously something changed.
Administrators are custodians of the racetracks and they're the PRAs, so they're not having any effect with the government. And Brisbane and Queensland racing was in a similar state a few years back, and they've finally worked a good relationship with the government, and now Queensland are sort of back on their feet. But Black Caviar, I think she raced in the Saints team, 2012? Remember when they called it was that embarrassing call,
2012,
that funny little race call. But yeah, they need to figure out whether they like racing or not, because it's on the cusp of slipping back down towards sort of Tassie levels, and if they can ever get in the room to figure out the pattern, they're at big risk of taking some of these group status off their races, if that means anything anyway. So, yeah, it's an interesting
it does
one.
because it stops the breeding cycle going there. So good mares and things will stop going. So it does mean something for sure. It'll just weaken it even further.
Right, it's going to be a big show. It's going to be a Queensland-centric show because that's what we are now, according to DK. The Comics Lounge is in North Melbourne. I did see all the photos of Jim Owen pop up, so that did happen, and he does exist still. Make sure you check out the Comics Lounge there in North Melbourne. They're home of comedy. DK might
Can we get
there.
like a voucher to the Comics Lounge out to that bloke who put the comment up about DK or something? Because that's got to be crack of the week or something. Yeah.
Can you get him a free session? I think it's good. I'm surprised DK reads the comments.
I
don't know
can't
how
believe
he's
I missed
found
it.
I was going there to check something I said. And anyway,
Oh, okay.
there he was, the keyboard warrior.
He'll be back this week. He'll be back this week if you're giving him time in the sun. Today's show's going to be a beauty. Last week was pretty lean, but the launch job was Celestial Legend. Donnie found it, and Walt Rubber stamped it, or the other way
Celestial
around.
Legend? That's what was it called?
Celestial Legend.
Is that
wasn't
what it was called?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you
Whatever.
thought I knocked the price off. I didn't knock the price off. It was a scratching.
I didn't tell you to knock the price off.
You accused me of knocking the price off.
When?
It was a scratching.
On the show?
You got a short memory.
I thought it was 320. Yeah.
Anyway, Walt's going to do 2 races for a change this week at Randwick. Sandown's back again. The track's holding up. How do you think the track's holding up? I know the jump circuit got a nice little watering, and that brought Britannicus undone, Nico. But how are you feeling about all this racing at Sandown?
It's very tired. With obviously it's had to cop a lot, given Caulfield's sort of not in play, and a lot of those meetings would be at Caulfield at the moment, but it is extremely tired. But they've gone rail back into the true on the hillside. Can be a rail position that can favour those horses on the speed, the true on the hillside, but we'll just sort of wait and see there. But there's no doubt it's the longer they continue just to hammer away at it, it is getting extremely tired. But lucky they probably move a few meetings back to the lakeside soon. But yep, I think there's a bit of rain predicted, isn't there, sort of today and tomorrow? So we'll just sort of wait and see with that. I reckon it could deteriorate a lot quicker than people might think.
Jason Has a Party is a late scratching, so something's come up in the last 10 minutes, so hopefully he's all sweet there. So we're going to have a look at the Queensland Derby, and I guess I'll just fumble my way through Murray Bridge. He's found a runner there. And TopSport Steamers, they're all Queensland bets, which is beautiful. And Best of the Best is back on all Group 1 Queensland races, so Kingsford Smith this weekend, Queensland Derby, odds to 5,000. So that's helping TopSport's turnover leap. So if you just want to set and forget and get the best price, make sure you check out TopSport there. That is the product that we like. Let's have a quick look at the market for the Queensland Derby. We might as well just kick straight into that one. And Kovalika is the favourite here. $1.70 is pretty lean, in from $1.90. Promises kept $7.50. Special Sway $9. The Vows $13. Aberfeldy Boy $15. Fame $21. Stroke of Luck $26. Angelus is $34. And then you can get bigger odds the rest. First replay we're going to have a look at here is the favourite at Kovalika. You can see him just ridden pretty quiet here in the blue and white. Was the fence a bit of an advantage this day, Walt?
I don't think it was a disadvantage, or like probably hard fence, probably not great, but I think, the ground that he saved versus having to sort of come around them, and it definitely wasn't easy to sustain a run wide either. It was sort of a bit of a sweet spot where the two, the winner and second horse have probably come, but I think it sort of suited his best attributes. And he's got a nice sort of turn of foot and then sort of maintains it. So I think that was a pretty perfect lead-in run for a 7-day backup coming into this Kovalika.
It's interesting. Obviously, Zaki was pretty ordinary there. Atishu's gone a miss. And then you've got a horse like Duay sort of just running up along beside him. We'll have a look at the SA Derby form. And
first up Duay too, right?
Yeah, exactly too. So there's tiny queries on some of that form. But the SA Derby here, you got Promises Kept. And you got here's the winner, Dunkel, DK's horse in the black and red. And then winding up down the outside, you've got Aberfeldy Boy sort of running along. Interesting conversations that I had when I was down at Melbourne on a bit of a work/stream/birthday party trip, and a couple of people wanted to poo-poo the SA Derby form, but I thought the first three across the line will all sort of go close to making the mark eventually as decent and handy stays. But
I think eventually is the key word to that. Yeah, I'm not sure whether how much can be left in the tank of a horse like Promises Kept. Obviously a very good horse, but big travel up and like does a few things wrong still, doesn't it? Like it's a big task for that horse to come up here and win a Queensland Derby in a race where it looks like there's going to be more pressure probably than the race that it's coming out of, even though it was an enormous run there.
So I think the way Az is going to play this is probably Dutch Promises Kept and Aberfeldy Boy. I'm a little bit wary of Kovalica. Only really negatives I could find if he doesn't run 2400 and he doesn't sort of handle the 7-day backup. But as Walt said, I thought it was a pretty soft.
170 is like balls of steel, isn't it? In any sort of a race like this. Do
you reckon they'll bet evens, won't they?
I'd say so. We're close enough.
They're just trying to get the multis in short.
Yeah, pretty much. The horse that snuck over here and won the lead up
Special
is hard to ignore just because nothing really led and won that day. It was a terrible headwind, and the boys kind of said that he set a pretty solid tempo there and just booted like it was a pretty special sway. It's a pretty special win really in isolation. So it's hard to completely ignore it. And I thought there was a decent roughie in the bottom that sort of come wide in that race. It was back in trip extra revs. One of Johnny Sargent can get one ready for a 2,400 metre race, and it's like 40-1. I thought it was worth throwing in exotics. But yeah, Kovalica obviously completely stands out. But $1.70 doesn't interest me.
I thought Andalus from the John O'Shea yard was worth a forgive as well. He was narrowly beaten in the NZ Derby around Sharp and Smart, and then he had no luck. I think he bungled the start in the Australian Derby, and it was sort of a bit ridden upside down that day anyway, or the whole race was just a bit of a mess, so that was on the heavy track. So Andalus at $34 might be one to put in exotics. You boys down in Melbourne got any theories about the Queensland Derby?
Oh, I just Aberfeldy Boy is the one I wanted to sort of take out of the South Australian Derby. He sort of had no luck there again. He had no luck in the Victoria Derby. Line Fine has got the 2,400 metre run under, or a mile and a half run under the belt at the, going into this. He's upwards into his prep. He's fourth up, so he's 16, 2021. So, he's a good horse. And I know I finally worked out why Dunkel wasn't mentioned on the show, on the run sheet last week, Nick. Obviously didn't back it in the stream, did you?
No,
that's why.
Cupboard job, watching that again.
Cupboard job.
Far out.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think people are against that SA Derby form because it hasn't rated that well. I saw on sort of the GTX data that Dano put out and a few of those other places.
Because MZara was playing games in front, wasn't he?
He's going so slow.
Yeah,
so I think it was hard for them to sort of bump that rating up. So I think as a whole, the market will probably be against that form. So I think there could be a slight edge there.
I reckon the faster they go, it'll suit Aberfeldy Boy, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with Walt as well. I thought Extra Revs, he was probably the best run of that other lead-up, the proper lead-up hit leading into this. It's probably not the A form, given you probably have the SA Derby and Kovalika's Doomben Cup run in front of it, but he looks the horse will definitely run 2,400. I think Fame's been 71 into 21. Has bolted in his last two starts in Mornington. I doubt he'd run a bad race.
He wants fast run. He's at his best in fast races, so if it's fast run, that's him.
Yeah, but Extra Revs, I agree with Walt. He'd be one to throw into your exotics for sure.
Sounds like there's a few people are going to bet around this odds-on favourite, so definitely we're going to see even money based on all the comments that the boys have just made on the show. So we'll get Azza to tweet a little summary. We'll put out a little voice memo. He loves a voice memo, so we'll retweet that on the Little Birdie handle. I'm sure he'll watch the show and catch it up. Murray Bridge is the next place we're going to go find a bet of his, and here's a market. Clabell for 40, Dunmaglass, that's a good name, 460, Storyteller, 460, Hope at Hand, $6, Birdies Galore, $8, Noble Magnate, $9.50, Magical Slipper, 15, Cold Case, $17. The replay that we're going to have a look at here is Magical Slipper, and it's P. Stokes, Kayla Crowther, rather. No, sorry, it's Hope in Hand. Sorry, I'm asleep at the wheel here. But this is the Royal Merchant form here. So you got Royal Merchant, She Dances, 7 Veils. And I assume that this is just a big drop back in class. And you can sort of see Hope at Hand, a bit like a Drunken Sailor, sort of speared back to the inside. It probably wasn't the best place to be, and maybe a big drop back in class is what Az is thinking here. But I'm pretty confident that no one else has done the race, but at $6. This is his second pick after the Queensland Derby, so make sure you have something on that. All right, we'll keep pushing forward to Sandown with you, Nico, and race 2 is the race that we're going to have a look at here. Favourite is Great Mama at $5, Cotel $5.50, Bubble Palace $5.50, End Journey $7, Charm Run $9.50, Drop the Verse $9.50, and then Flying on a Limb is $14. Tanto $15, Panache is $16, and the replay we're going to have a look at here is Flying on a Limb. First up winner, Clinton McDonald stable. Tell us why you like it.
Yeah, it was sort of wide here, blending into the race in the red sleeves there with the checks, and thought this was a really good win. She comes home the fastest last 200 metres of the meeting. She doesn't really know what it's fully about yet, which is probably the question mark given it goes Malum to Gaudry, but she definitely got a motor, this horse. It was a fast tempo. That to the 600 leader's gone about 5.5 lengths above, and she's still come home in the quickest last 200 of the night. Stays at 1,000 metres here. Sort of, you look through her form last preparation, she'd always shown a little bit. She won a really strong maiden at Cranbourne to end the campaign against Nunthorpe, who's been stakes place. Shame went and won at Pakenham the start after, and then Ali D sort of been thereabouts in a lot of maidens. I don't think this race is much stronger than, say, a 64 or a 70. It's probably like a midweek race, really. And I thought there was probably a few chinks, and, Bubble Palace and Great Mama won at Cranbourne also, and didn't run anywhere near as sort of flash figures. I just thought, coming out of the maiden form has been very underrated here. Flying on a Limb drops from 57.5 to 53.5. Soft run from barrier number 3. I don't know, you might have a bit of a thought on this horse, DK, out of the strong run at Cranbourne maiden.
It was, but it was big. Like to the eye, it's a big win, isn't it? Was it 4 wide the trip?
And it's backed it up on the clock. I can't really understand why it's $14.
Oh, yeah, times. Yeah. True. Just the only thing is it does race keen. That's why it was out there. So it pulls. So just Gaudry, but low draw, so you can. It is obviously a bit of a tricky horse to ride, and Malum just sort of went with it the other day, and it was that was a big win. I mean, that's it. I love seeing horse sitting wide and finish it off. So at what odds did you say? $13, $14?
Yeah, I thought the market could definitely come for her. The lead up race is the 1,000 metre race behind End Journey. I thought Charm Run was probably the run of that race would drop the verse. You could have a look at them at sort of $9, $10 also, but I just thought Bubble Palace, coming off a Horsham win. If she keeps her best form, she's probably right in it, but I think she's a bit hard to trust. And then Great Mama's no superstar. Just thought there was holes in this market everywhere. So I thought those horse, 6, 12 and 13, you could probably chuck in your exotics, but I thought Flying on a Limb's probably maybe not a bad 1x3 bet below the minimum.
Interesting rider, and the favourite here, Great Mama, Wirramoo Pin, claiming 3 kilos. This is a Kiwi apprentice that's sort of was won 10 from their last 50. I know nothing about this rider, and
Nico does, and he's on Nico's next tip, so we'll get to that.
Well, this is the first ride in Australia by looking at puntingform.com.au, Nico.
Yeah, it will be, I'm pretty sure. So he's a rider from New Zealand who comes here with a 3 kilo claim and has already ridden a Group 1 winner.
So he's very. You can see why he's here. He's come over here. He outridden his claim ages ago.
Yeah.
And he gets here and he's got 3 kilos through the winter.
It could just be very well. Like he rode a Group 2 winner back only in March. He rode Brando to win over there. He rode Full of Sincerity in the New Zealand Derby.
He rode 4 winners last Saturday. A quad. A 4 at Awapuni, whatever it was. My male, I've read up, had a little look at him. He's very similar M. Walker. So he was very wayward in and out. So the boy wonder, but went off the rails a couple of times, and now he's back and going good. And 3 kilo claim during the winter. So and you can see trainers have got smarter here because Luke Campbell's over here as well. So Luke Campbell's come out. He's only got 2 kilos, but he's the boy wonder from WA. He's come to Mar. The other good kid over there, Taj Dyson. He's coming over as well for the winter, 3 months, Mike Moroney. So these apprentices are about to come have their time in the sun. So and I did see, that's why I look at him, Nick, because I saw he was on your next pick, the Mojo thing. But anyway, we'll get to that.
He's riding for Team Friedman. They've obviously got a good association with the Kiwis, with Brad Taylor being their racing manager. So I would imagine they'd be well across his capabilities.
We're happy to use him.
Yeah.
Well, I see he rides for Forsman over there, and I thought, he might just have one. Can we over here for one ride? He's got 6 rides or something. So everyone knows he's this kid. You can have a kid, 24-year-old, outridden his claim 2 years ago, and you get 3 kilos off.
He's going to be well in
The old Paddy Payne rort in the jumps. Remember that when Paddy Payne rode over the jumps?
Well, it's the Canberra Willa Ward at the moment.
Getting the 3 kilos.
3 kilos, he's absolutely dominated them. He's barely rode a loser over the jumps.
Sounds like an ATM, little
Did
print
Nico
job.
just compare Campbell Rawiller to Paddy Payne in the saddle?
That is the comparison on the track at the moment. They said he's like Paddy Payne over the jumps. That's what
Concussion
we're
check.
hearing.
Concussion check. Aisle 2.
I'm
Concussion
just
check.
sort of passing on what I heard from a few old timers. I wasn't sort of around when Paddy Payne was over the jumps, so.
He was a Group 1 winning rider, just won a Doncaster or something like that, whatever he'd won, and Soho Square had turned it to the jumps. And
So was he Jay Allen then? That was pretty much the same comparison.
well, no,
he
they're
was
not
riding Group 1s
well,
over the jumps.
yeah, true. No, he was in his prime. He's a freak over the jumps.
Freak trainer, Paddy Payne.
And his weight was just what held him up as a rider. He was incredible.
I think one of his last big winners was it Testarossa in the Emirates?
Yeah, he
Top
rode
weight?
in all the Group 1s, rode always, yeah, he was an absolute gun. Then all of a sudden he's over the jumps.
Well, so we've found one here. Wirramoo Pin claiming 3. This is the new Rort. Sandown race 4 is the next race we're going to have a look at. Cutting Queen's favourite here, $6.50. Do Your Punk 7, Jaconi 7, Sandy Prince $8, Skywolf $8.50, Tasman Park $9.50, Vitruvius 11, Mr. Mojo Horizon, Jimmy Morrison $12, and that's the horse that we're going to have a look at here on the $14 line is Scan 2 and Hello Broadcast, which was a huge run at last start. But we're looking for the horse in the green, the Forsman runner.
Yeah, this is Mr. Mojo Horizon. He came to this run off a massive win at Avondale where he sat back in the field and rounded them up and was one of the biggest wins you'll ever see. I don't think he beat much on that occasion. I think they just rode him a bit too warm here. He just didn't finish off. Was a good early tempo, which sort of DK set, and then Euphoric got over the top here, Private Jumbo. This form looks pretty strong. They ran really good figures on this occasion, and I just thought in a race where there is just holes in a lot of these horses that are either first up or haven't trialled or jumped out that well, where they're sort of at. You know, this horse over in New Zealand, he's run second in the Hawkesbury Guineas behind Pierre. Pierre was okay in the Hobartville here, and then you can back up that form. Sort of last start, Euphoric goes to the 3-year-old racing's favourite, and I think that 3-year-old form is okay. He was well back there. He's 11 into $5. Gets Pin on, who rode him in the Hawkesbury Guineas when he run second. He's had, I think, 2 or 3 sits on the horse, so he knows the horse. And he drops big time in the weight, so he goes 57.5 down to, 52.5. So I thought there was just enough for him that he gets probably a softer run in behind the speed. I hope they ride him a little bit colder than what they did the other day. And it's sort of $12 in a race where you could sort of have a few knocks on a few of these horses, given a few of them are fresh and, probably reach their mark a little bit. Here's a horse that has a lot of upside. You get the gun New Zealand jockey. Gee, we're giving him a big rap on this show. I've heard him have a big rap everywhere, to be honest. Listen to RSN and they'll give him a huge rap as well.
Yeah.
So
the soft ground, if there is soft ground, that's only going to help it too.
soft ground tick.
Kiwi.
Apprentice under the minimum. We saw that a bit last week with a few of the horses that were running big races. So I think it's a bit of a deadly pearl in the winter.
And you're right, it's underrated knowing the horse and having the sit on the horse, and and that's probably why he wants him to ride it. So you think would be ridden a bit quieter, Nico?
Yeah, on a tricky day, I thought you could probably have something on here at $12. I think the mark will probably find it, and you could be hopefully getting a collect.
Only comment I'll make is old Johnny Allen, Cardigan Queen down at the Bull. Wasn't that an absolute Group 1 slaughter? And he got outridden by D. Perez on Verbano when we launched.
That's no disgrace, mate.
What?
D. Perez.
Yeah, he's a great jockey. John Allen, I think the horse was heavily backed, Cardigan Queen, and he pulled his pants down. He just completely panicked and went up the wrong part of the track.
It's definitely in play. Drops down to 54.5. Barrier 14. She's probably just going to need the pattern in favour. She can't really put herself in the race, but if she brings her best, she's a deserved favourite, you would have thought. But Mr. Mojo Horizon just out of the hot form race last start with the big figures, I think the mark will probably have a look at him.
All right, if you want more of Nico's stuff, Mounting Yard Mail 3 to 5 minutes before the race, all via Telegram, and it's the final word. So that's what we like to on Vongole last week, $70.
Yeah, it was a good result.
EJ.
That's pretty impressive.
We did the EJ double into pinstriped as well, so that was probably 300 to 1 EJ to try to double at Flemington, but we managed to snare both.
Too good. Puntingform.com.au is a big sponsor of ours. They're the best form guide in the business. They've got benchmarks, they've got speed mapping capabilities, black book function, and they're just about to drop a brand new worksheet. So big things on the horizon. So now's a really good time to sink your teeth into punting form, and it's just about to sprout wings. Speaking of sprout wings, Randwick, Walt.
You sure that horse was called Celestial Legend?
Wasn't it?
I don't know.
Why?
We'll hear its name again, don't worry.
Yeah,
Might
it
be
was
the last race that horse wins.
No, it was an absolute cracking run. Big grey thing. Burst clear.
Burst.
Oh, Celestial Legend. What do you think it's called?
Hey?
I just.
Oh, today, mate. It was a week ago.
Hey?
I don't know.
You've
I
had
don't
a couple of
know.
bits since.
Twitter takes a lot out of me these days.
It's 100 tweets later for Walt.
It's not. Oh,
Bet fair this and bet fair that. And he's been on. Had a big week on the tweet, Walt.
How good was Terry Bailey though? How good was he?
How good
Even
was
though he got blocked and old mate had the pads on heavily, he still Jesus didn't he have a big go?
That was great. You know, as I said, that never happened in New South Wales or anywhere else. And for have TB going hard at a PRA.
Well, at least he said he told the truth. At least he said.
Well, at least he opened.
He wouldn't let him
eyes,
spin it out. He wouldn't let him spin out of it. Wouldn't let him spin out of it, would he?
No, that's it. And he held him to it. And even though he refused to answer it and gave a little padded response, it was still well and truly put across, which is all you can do, right?
There's zero journalists in New South Wales, maybe the exception of Adam Pengelly, that have a crack at anything like that in New South Wales.
Anything else is
They'd
very
lose
measured.
their jobs. They'd lose their jobs. It'd be the end of them. You know, what are they going to do? I know you said they're spineless, Scoot, but still, what are they going to put their careers on the line?
Yeah.
Then what? I mean, I know, that's got a decision you've got to make, and they're probably in their ages with families and things like that. It's not like they're an old journo's washed up like, say, Kenny Callender at the end of his career and can tee off or something because he doesn't care. You know? Like Volandis is just what Brian Kruger was saying, like, reading into it, just dealing with the whole Volandis racing New South Wales and stuff is just a shit show. And not just race Victoria versus New South Wales, every other PRE in Australia.
It's like they've just isolated themselves from what he was saying.
He's suing them all. He's suing them all as a group. Every other one, he's taken them to court.
But everyone else is the problem.
Sorry, keep it positive.
No comment.
No, you let all yours go in the check.
Well, you've already been.
There's a reason for
you're
that.
in the gulags now, so you're
Well,
done, mate.
I'm
He's got
part
you.
proof of what he does. If you
done.
so, yeah, that's it. I've got no reason to say anymore.
What a game. Let's talk Randwick Racing. What a product. Expensive product to bet in, but great if you own a horse. Randwick Race 7 is an 1,100 metre race. It's the Fujitsu Air Stage Handicap. Would love to be in the Fujitsu box at Randwick with Mark Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah, it'd be great. I own a Merc.
Carly Electric's horse. Get home, you good thing. You hope you're tipping it, Walt. Get home for Carly.
And Rachel Schumacher's back aboard.
You could be tipping Kin, so...
420 into 380, Kin 380, Chief Conductor $850, $1 billion Baby $10, Traporti $12, Lady Brook 14, Command Approved 16, and Better the rest. I own a Merc. Let's have a look at its trial here. It's at the back in the white
In the middle.
with the purple hat. And is Schumacher on it? She can't hold
Schumacher's
it.
on it.
She's absolutely swinging off it.
They've ridden it back in 2 trials, which I don't mind here. Fast run race, 1,100 first up. Has been gelded, which I thought was important. He had a few little tricks last time in. Doesn't look to have grown a hell of a lot, but still looks to have physically strengthened up, which is important. But trial kind of speaks for itself there. Finishes off under a absolute hold. That sort of horse that it's, I think, sort of ridden a pair or two back with cover is going to be its go. Inside draw here with Schumacher aboard, it's just going to need clean air. There's definitely enough pressure in the race. It will be heart and sleeve for quite a while, no doubt. But it's one of those horses that I think, if she gets held up to the sort of the 200, it's got a nice enough turn of foot to get over the top of these. Dangerous horse, probably $1 billion Baby's going to be in a similar spot, very fit, similar sort of horse. I don't think it's as good a horse, but can unload a nice little dash if say it was held up and $1 billion Baby got the run. And I thought the roughie in the race that I'll definitely be making a win is So Am I. I spec'd it first up at Scone and it was just a complete forgive. I think this horse is a big track, sort of 1,100, 1,000 metre horse, and it's like 30 to 1. So Rachel Schumacher, I hope she's not got the pedal down on Saturday. I hope she's got the powder dry like she did in the 2 trials there and uncoiling late. I think it's a pretty nice horse. I own a Merc. Did level out a bit late last prep, but it was I think it's the gelding's been a good move and hopefully it goes to another level this time in.
Beautiful. Looks like a bet to me. Race 8 at Flemington is the next one. This is the James.
Flemington?
Sorry,
Mate,
at Randwick, sorry.
Christ.
Wrong HQ.
Yeah, Randwick Race 8, James Tedesco, Outreach Program Handicap, 1,100 metres, Foxfighter favourite, $6, D-Horn Unicorn, $6, Dragonstone, $6.50, Pizarro, $6.50, Malkovic, $10, Conscript, $11, Titanium Power, $12, Through the Cracks, $15, Shaquiro, $17, and then you got Spaceboy, $18, The Face, $19. Let's have a look at a couple of replays here. The first one I'm going to have a look at is
These are both trimmed up. Ugh.
Foxfighter.
Yeah, so Foxfighter, he's kind of worked out. I pray that he's worked out that this is another short course, big track horse. First time it gets to sort of Randwick 1100. This Through the Cracks that there's not what's it called? The Think About It.
About it on the outside of it.
Trying to chase home here. Very slowly run race this day. They went way too slow up front. So again, was against Foxfighter's pattern sort of to be back and where it was. It didn't help him. Think About It will probably go around close enough to a Stradbroke favourite if it runs well on Saturday. So that form should well and truly hold up in a race like this. Again, looks like there's well and truly enough pressure. You've got The Face drawn out wide. I know Spaceboy's in the race here. Titanium Power back in trip. Malkovich, there's plenty of pressure up front. And he should be having no excuses. Randy Adkins scares the life out of me at the best of times, but this horse pretty much rides itself.
The Schiller suspended.
Yeah, Super Schiller. So he should be sort of midfield and getting to the middle, which should be fine. Rail in the true position. And the other horse, so we no replay for it. We're just talking about it.
We've got D-Horn Unicorn in the pink.
So again, this was a pretty decent. That's Malkovich up front. This day the fence was worth lengths. You wanted to be sort of one or two off. It was a bit of a weird day, but I definitely think it was the right place to be, sort of just behind the speed with cover. And D-Horn Unicorn was a bit soft in the betting. Thought there might be more money for him. His trials were a little bit soft, so I think this run will really bring him on, and he sort of grinds to the line a bit here in, arguably the wrong part where sort of Quantico and Ethelric have had nice runs in front of him. I thought it was a nice blowout run. Randy Adkins was one. I've Rachel Schumacher in the last, and I've got Kathy O'Hara on D-Horn Unicorn, but that's the sort of day it is. And they were sort of $7.50, I think $8 and $6 is sort of pushing the friendship, boxing up these two. But I guess you just pray that you get a 6 out of 10 out of one of them, and they both look extremely well set up to run very well here. D-Horn Unicorn, the low draw, should be right behind them. Fox Spider should be coming down the middle, and they both should be strong. Through the Cracks is an interesting horse first up. But I thought he was a bit dour and get a bit older too. So I thought maybe 1100 should be too sharp for him. I couldn't really see too many other horses that were well placed. Pizarro's a horse that's not really one of mine. Backing on the inside, it'll need all the luck, I think. So just sort of one of those races where you just keep coming back to, no matter how it's run, these two horses should be finishing off nicely.
I'll tell you what, just knowing Walt's patterns, if he's found Kathy O'Hara, Andrew Adkins, Rachel King, and then even Dildo Gibbons on the
Dildinator, yeah.
Oh, if he's found these four jockeys as bets, he is horned up deluxe on these runners. You must bet in both of these races and pull the trigger.
If I was a corporate like Matty Tripp, with his 100 to 1, I'd be getting 100 to 1 the field in the highway, because if anyone wants to have a good look at what a train wreck looks like in real time, watch the highway on Saturday. It's going to be a nightmare. Some of the riders that would dead set not have Randwick in their GPS, they'll be heading there for the first time in a long time. And yeah, it's going to be some interesting racing. Big fields at Randwick Saturday with a lot of the jockeys away and a few suspended. It's an interesting time to be betting in New South Wales.
Yeah, well, they've just gone to 160,000 each race up in there, so it's they've just re-raised themselves.
I like that one. So again, it's not being too negative, but they should at least be honest. Okay, we're putting it up to 150 because then it reaches the premium tax for the bookmakers. So therefore we make more money out of the punters on those days. And again, we're going to get worse odds on all those meetings as punters. Why not just say that rather than say, we're 6.5 million where we're throwing 2,000 here, there to mask what we're really doing. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, I did see Ray just give it a nice little fluff up on Thoroughbred Central.
Oh, and to come in line with country racing, like you posted that graph from that fella. I like the fella that
Paul Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari. The Ferraris. He's got some good insight, and like that. The problem is, okay, you get 22,000 or something for winning a country race. You get 160 for winning in the city. It's always been something similar like that, but it still costs you very similar to feed the horse that wins the $22,000 race compared to the 160. So Yeah, there's definitely an imbalance there somewhere.
All right. If you're sick of, you guys got any comments or questions about those horses in Sydney, Nico or DK?
No.
No, I just like that Walt's horned up about dehorned unicorn. Lots of horns.
Yeah,
You know.
the horns, a lot of horn. Hang on, here he is. Where is he? Here he is.
I'm just waiting for
There
Carly's
he is.
The unicorn.
Carly's comments around the I own a Merc gelding.
We were going back and forth there for a while last time.
She'll watch the show.
Yeah.
She'll tune in. She'll love it.
And she was just like, oh, we've got to get Rachel off her. And then I think she won on it, didn't she? Won on it the day we half liked it. And then now they're besties.
Yeah,
Now they're besties.
Wonder if she's going to the races Saturday.
I think she is.
DK, all about it.
Will she be dehorned?
Got the direct line in.
Oh, it's a different race.
If you want the direct line into racingwatch.com.au, check out Johnny's website. You've got the Telegram group or you've got the Discord chat, and you can just stop following him on Twitter with all these
We've got blokes tuning in from the Croatian craps tables this morning. Did you see that? This never miss a moment. You see that? Anyone got any mail before I go to bed? I'm just at the craps table in Croatia or something. There's some genuine lunatics in there.
Was that the
It's
same
awesome.
bloke that was posting pictures of his feet in Greece?
What?
There was some bloke taking a picture of him. You know, he's trying to do the
Oh
leg,
yeah,
the leg
yeah.
shot.
When he's at the.
It was like he zoomed in on his feet and you could see his toenails and stuff.
I didn't zoom in personally on the toenails, but
was-
obviously you're a feet man.
It was a bit
That's
much.
good scar.
So, mate, I wish I
It's filthy. They didn't make the back of the toilet door.
Nah, if I had a fetish, it wouldn't be feet. Donnie's best is next. Celestial Legend.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
We'll call it Celestial Legend. Phil last week, and he's absolutely on fire for the Little Birdie Syndicate. So make sure you jump on board there. But I think he's back to Eagle Farm this week.
G'day, boys. Back to headquarters at Eagle Farm this weekend. Can't wait for the Carnival to keep on rolling up here in Queensland. Looks like some cracking races and keen to get amongst it. The best bet this weekend comes up in race 2, Magnus Bellagio. First up, it was very good. It was only a length and a half off second favourite, Manhood. Last out at Doomman, it got back, ran home very hard, got the best last 100 of the day. It's around 20 to 1. I think it's great value. Have more the place line. I think it's a really good chance to run a place. There's talk that Antino may come out, but we'll still have a fair price about Magnus Bellagio, even if it does. So that's the best bet in race 2. In race 3, I got my own horse. I got a small share in Calipore. It's racing against Serpentine. My head's saying Serpentine's going to win. It's first up, last out over 2,200. It went very slowly, but was still too strong for Calipore. Meets him 3.5 kilos better off at the weight. It's going to be hard for Calipore to turn the table. We're cheering for him, but I think Serpentine's going to be too good. So the 2 bets are race 2, Magnus Bellagio each way, and race 3, Serpentine, but hopefully Calipore beats it. See you, boys.
Do you reckon he's just trying to reverse sort of mock there, make it his best bet so he wins either way? Is that it?
Well, it's interesting. He sort of Clark off Serpentine or Clark on Serpentine beats Calipore. Clark on Calipore. Calipore gets home. Clark back on Serpentine. Maybe he's Team Clark. Maybe he's finally come across to the dark side with me. It's a good setup for Serpentine by the look there. And I listened to an interview with Ado. He said it worked really well. So, fresh to 2,400 off that last start win looks very nice for that horse. Calipore. Shin's going to have to produce one of his better rides, I think, to find a nice position and not have to give too big a start away to Timmy, who'll be up the front rolling.
I thought I've had a look at this race, and I thought Fancy Man might be, I guess, the X factor. Second prep for Annabelle now, and I thought the big blowout roughie was Platinum Invader. Was it Lisa Larder? Ryan Maloney gets the ride there, so I think it's form around the Auckland. I think it was the Auckland Cup at 1, and he's just
It's got 2 mile form, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it'll be strong.
Yeah, out and out stayer. So $31 Platinum Invaders, a nice little knockout bet that you have to make a winner in my book. I would have thought. Let's have a look at the TopSport Steamers. Race 2. Again, there's a few people here betting around Antino who might be scratched there. So he's $2.70. He's got 61 kilos. I'm not sure where Golan's going to go with that horse because they had pretty high ambitions, but it looks like it might be they might have botched it up somehow. Race 2, number 8 is Salik from the Waller Yard. I'm not sure why it failed first up, but there's a duck egg next to its form, $250 at $26.
Yeah, it's hard to knock that bet, isn't it? Like, it's the horse has got ability. I'm not really sure what happened to it first up, but a dangerous stable, and I'm definitely not going to talk anyone out of $26. One of his runners in a race like this.
It's only beaten 5 lengths in the dark jewel behind more profits. Bring the
Yeah, it
answer on
comes back to a
short.
Class 6, yeah.
Huh?
Comes back to a Class 6, yeah.
Super duper there, $26. So I'm thinking that's going to disappear shortly. Race 6, number 9 is the next bet here. 500 at 850 Solidify. This looks like a bit of a chinky size produce. You got Zia from the Waterhouse Botyard at 440 favourite. Chrysaor at $5. Armed Forces 850. Sofredo 950. Snapback $11. I went and had a look at the replays of Solidify. I might try and tweet it out on the Little Birdie account. Jump to our Twitter page if you want to have a look at the shortcut for that. But G1 easily. They went super slow on his last start in a listed race, and he won so easily. This Kiwi horse. I thought it and Chrysaor were the two here. Any thoughts on the
Chrysaor
Gate
Gate 1's a bit of a nightmare. If it gets the run, if it gets a Nash special, it'll run well. Zia's very short for mine. There's a heap of speed. I actually didn't mind Gay's other two in the race, Hyde Park and Azula. 25-1. I think they're both sort of progressive horses that aren't, much different to Zia, and Zia's $4.60. So it looks a bit of a very fast run race. So I'd be looking for strength. Even Californian, $17 looks a big price. It sort of has been not suited its last 2 starts. I know it's in Sydney too, and they might not go here with a 17 gate, but I actually don't mind that draw in this race just because it looks like there's any amount of speed in it. Chrysaor, obviously, it's definitely the one that sort of stands out if it gets the right runs through, but probably 480 short enough. I'd be looking for value in that race.
Hyde Park's an interesting one. I sort of half found it, thinking it could be anything back to dry. I just didn't know what Tim was going to do with it.
Yeah, and I was on that horse of Lamming's last start that sort of was going to put 6 on it, and maybe it half stopped, but it was certainly running away at the end too. Looks just a strong horse that, potentially a wide draw, if he just sort of gets in a rhythm, might just keep on trugging.
So interesting one there. So the market should tell the story. The Kiwis do have a pretty big opinion of Solidify, but definitely a race that looks up for grabs, as Walt says. Race 8, number 2, A Case of You, 600 at $8.50 here. Pretty good run behind Gigi Kick last time, I thought. And M. Zara now takes over from Benny Thompson, who he's going to ride Shiloh for the O'Day and Hoisted yard. It's been back to 31 into 18. He looks like a bit of a knockout, but I thought Think About It was a little bit short here at $5. It's sort of...
It is with a 59, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if it was a handicap and it snuck in, you'd say he's definitely the horse that's on the up that looks super dangerous, but sort of an awkward draw. Very adaptable horse, but still an awkward draw. He seems priced to his absolute best, considering the horses that he's taking on.
Polana's a forgive. It lost a plate last time because that'd explain why it was so plain. I'm a little bit worried about Rothfire. Deep into his prep, he seems to sort of train off. So hopefully Robbie Heathcote's found a solution for that or kept him a little bit fresh. And King of Sparta obviously loves Eagle Farm. There's one of yours there, Converge.
1300's got to be a little, he's got a good, he's 1 to 1200. So 1300's got to be the sort of end of his tether, hasn't it, Rothfire? It's a horse that will suit Shin's style. Converge, I saw 25-1 earlier in the week, and then when I saw it draw 1, I went back to look for the 25-1. It was $8. So, I think he's very well suited. Whether this is his grand final or not, I don't think it will be. But all reports are he's going quite well, and dry track inside draw really suits his style. He can sort of get out and let rip. But it looks a tough race for mine. It's not really a race. It's appeals to me.
Paul Ailey could be a knockout. Beam Elam can ride that a little bit cold, and I thought Gentleman Roy could run a big race, but again, he's got barrier 18, so he's sort of up against it. I think by default, you could have easily taken the early price on A Case of You. It's sort of D-Day for it a little bit. Nico, any thoughts, or DK?
No, not really. Thought Case of You is probably right in play, but no, I got a lot of time to think about it, and I don't think they'll wait for age scale. That race is the horses he has to carry level weights with, he just could be better than anyway. So it's probably not too much of a worry for me there.
That's it. And he could come out and be like clearly the best horse in the race potentially. He's just a winner, isn't he? So he's not a horse you really want to. Oh, you definitely can't pen him or take him on, and he's $5. Not if he's 6 to 4. So I agree with Nico.
All right, we'll see how that plays out. DK, anything out wide for us? Yeah, what's the winner?
Yes, Scooty, yes. Got to redeem as well. Luckily, no one would have burnt, hopefully, last week. But Cranbourne race 3 tomorrow night. Kuro Shizino or something like that. I thought he'd be winning. I think it's about 6 to 4 in the early market, but looks progressive. Billy Egan, give it the grouse, and Home you go.
What's it called?
$2.30. $2.35.
Curacino or Curazino or something like that.
Kurozino.
You on at 480 or something like that?
Wide all the way last start. I think I had a wide run. Billy will give it the peach this time.
What price did you get?
Scratch my heart.
And if it lobs, I'll sing simply the best for DK next week.
What's that?
If it wins, is Kurozino.
Yeah,
I'll come in with the wig on, high heels. I'll do the lot.
It'll be.
It wouldn't be the first time you dress like that.
Well, I have to dress down when I come in here. Yes.
I think we might have to try and dig out some YouTube footage of Walt with his cross-dressing. He's right into it. You have, many times.
Mate, it was my sister's 50th. I just went to another level, all right?
Done it once, he'll do it again. Kurashinzino, Cranbourne Race 3, number 3, Billy Egan on fire, and DK's probably on at 480.
They love him, don't they? They love Billy Egan. The trainers.
Yeah.
They get their horse back in one piece. That's probably why. He just looks after him, and he just they all love putting him on.
Seems a good combo too, him and Luke Oliver. They seem to go really well when they combine, so it could definitely be on there.
I used to love backing Luke Oliver's horses about 10 years ago. I don't keep up with it anymore, but he could definitely get one ready.
Billy Egan doesn't lack any confidence too. That's what you need in this game. All right, it's been a great show. We've been super positive, and even DK, he's cleaned out his pooey nappy, and we'll be back next week for more action. It's just Queensland Carnival now until we take a break.
Can we
in
drop
July.
off talking about Adelaide from now on? Is that it? Have you had your
Yeah,
Adelaide
that's right.
fix?
Adelaide have had their time. That's it. Let's find something else to blow about next week.
Breeders' Tax and Adelaide. Can you put them both in the bin?
Yeah, we will.
Thanks, mate.
It's getting boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting boring. See ya.
See you next week.